Hello and good evening. Welcome to Growth Groove with Dr. Erica because you know what? It is Tuesday and 7 p.m. Tuesdays. You know where you can find me. So today I am really excited to bring something special for you. Yesterday we talked about why it's so important to be unapologetic about your rest and recovery. Today we're going to talk about self-care a little bit. You might be like, Dr. Erica, why are we talking about self-care? Well, April stress, I think it's like stress awareness month or stress management awareness month, one of them stress and month all together. And one of the things that a lot of us think of when we think of either fighting off, combating stress, preventing stress is self-care. So I want to talk to you about that. The truth about why self-care isn't always enough. Yes, I said it. Sometimes it seems like it isn't quite enough. So we're going to do a little housekeeping. As you come in, do me a favor, let me know where you are watching from. So if you know someone that needs this, please tag them. Also, if you know someone that needs to share it, sharing is caring. The last thing is, guess what? If you're watching it later, don't even worry about it. Stick hashtag replay in the comments. Just let me know you were here. So if you don't know me, I am your host, Dr. Erica, Harvard-trained, double board certified psychiatrist and integrative lifestyle coach. I'm extremely passionate about helping people be better so they could do better and live better. I do that through my telepsychiatry, my books, and my speaking. My superpower is making mental health practical so that you can have the life that you were really created for. We're going to go ahead and hop right all the way into this topic. So as I said before, we're talking about the truth about why self-care isn't always enough. You might be like, why are we talking about this? Well, I don't know if you're one of those people or you know some of those people that you say self-care and people are hemming and hawing. They're like, that doesn't work. What are you even talking about? Why is everyone talking about self-care? Self-care isn't bleep. And the truth about the matter is there's kind of this myth out there that self-care is just the cure-all for everything. Self-care fixes stress. Self-care fixes burnout. Self-care fixes your emotions. Self-care fixes everything. And honestly, I'm a huge fan of self-care. I think self-care can be some great stuff. But I think that's a lie. Self-care is not the cure-all for everything. It is a wonderful tool that can help with resilience. They can help with certain kinds of issues, but there are other times where self-care itself isn't enough. So it isn't that self-care is bad or self-care doesn't work. I think sometimes our expectations for self-care is much more than the load self-care can actually bear. So let's start off with what is self-care. So when I look at self-care, I look at self-care is some type of activity, even if it's something you do that's peaceful and you're meditating or you're even sleeping. But it's something that you are doing to help have some type of restorative action. So there usually is something about it that helps you restore. So self-care is really a way to pour back into yourself. And one of the things I look at in self-care is, to me, you should be able to enjoy self-care. If I don't enjoy it, it's self-maintenance. It's something I have to do to take care of myself, but it doesn't feel like self-care. But something that you are doing that is somewhat pleasant or you feel good afterwards. And those things vary from taking a break and having some you time to going to bed early, to resting, to going to the beach, to going to the spa, doing your nails, to deep breathing, to working out. All kinds of things can count as self-care. Even spending time with your good friends. There are just so many things that are self-care. But as we said before, sometimes it's sold this bill that it can do everything. And honestly, it can't. There are times where you have to actually go to the root cause of what the issue is. So sometimes where self-care specifically isn't enough, to give some examples, includes if you're depressed, a little self-care isn't going to fix being depressed. A little self-care is not going to fix an anxiety disorder. A little self-care isn't going to fix burnout. Self-care isn't going to fix a terrible job. Self-care isn't going to fix a toxic relationship. It can't do all that. So if you look at self-care and all of these interventions, you're looking for them to get to the root cause. Well, self-care is something that's going to be restorative. So it's going to help with the root cause when the root cause is simply you need some, you need a break, or you need some rest, or you're tired, or maybe you need a laugh and some fun. But it's not if the root cause is something bigger. And part of the reason it seems like sometimes self-care doesn't work is we're asking it to do too much. We're asking it to fix something much larger. And there are times where the answer, self-care, can be helpful, but it is not the answer. So going back to the example, if you have a terrible job and you don't enjoy it, you feel that people micromanage you or talk down to you, or you have microaggressions, or you're just mistreated and disrespected, that then you have to look at the root cause is this particular situation and whether or not you need another job. If you're in a toxic relationship, do I need another relationship? What do I need to do to get out? And I think that's the thing. And even when we look at burnout, is that there are times where you need to look at the root cause and get to the root cause and take those types of steps in addition, where self-care can augment, but it can't do the heavy lifting. So I want to encourage everyone out there that when you are having difficulties, to assess, is this a little thing or a big thing? If it's a big thing, most likely self-care itself isn't going to do it. Self-care can just be kind of augment. But thinking of what the root cause, and the root cause is more than just being a little tired, a little frustrated, or just a little overstimulated, or that, you've been eating all the quarantine snacks and now you're sluggish because you've picked up a little bit of weight, or you've been doing the quarantine TV watching, or you stayed up too late watching Versus. If it's something big, then start thinking about bigger steps, bigger solutions, so that you give yourself a chance to come out of it. And you're not sitting depending on something that can't fix it. Because sometimes we have to take bigger action. We need to take more radical action. And that's going to be the solution, not self-care alone. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about. As you come in, let me know what your experiences are with self-care. And if you've had times where it feels like self-care wasn't enough. Quick recap, and then we're going to get you out of here. If you know someone that needs this, please tag them. Also, if you know someone that needs to share it, sharing is caring. The last thing is, if you're watching later, don't even worry about it. Put hashtag replay in the comments. And if you missed it, you can always go back, because you know what? We aren't going to be in here all day today. So we're talking about those times when self-care just isn't enough. And this lie that people are told a lot of times, or these myths, that self-care is the cure-all for everything. I was actually listening to one of Brene Brown's podcasts the other day, and she had these twin sisters whose names I think it's Nagoski, were on there, and they were talking about the stress cycle. And they said something, which is something I've been saying for years, but they use different words. And they just basically said, self-care isn't the cure for burnout. And I think the key is, it's not just burnout, but for all these major things, self-care isn't the cure-all for trauma. Is that we need to start having realistic expectations about what self-care can do. When it's something bigger, use self-care to augment it and still look for the other solutions. And sometimes the other solutions, or the solution that you need, includes actually asking for help and getting help, be it seeing a therapist, seeing a psychiatrist. If you're working through maybe some issues with work or leadership, possibly getting a coach. It could be getting your energy right with your chiropractor, Reiki, acupuncture, all of these kinds of things. There are numerous kinds of interventions that could be done depending on what's going on. But sometimes self-care alone just isn't going to do it. So I just wanted to have a little quick moment to remind people that it's not an issue that self-care doesn't work, just sometimes we're asking self-care to do too much. So thank you so much for tuning in tonight for Growth Groove with Dr. Erica. As I said, you can find me at 7 p.m. Eastern with Growth Groove. And that's what I got. So again, I'm your host, Dr. Erica, double board certified and Harvard trained psychiatrist and integrative lifestyle coach. I'm so passionate about helping people be better so they could do better and ultimately live better. I do that through my adult telepsychiatry, my speaking, and my books, including my last book, Fix Your Fairy Tale, A Woman's Guide to a Great Life, Love, and Legacy. Superpowers, making great salads, and making mental health practical. I do that to help you get that life you truly deserve. And guess what? So tomorrow, I actually won't be on my own channel. So tomorrow, I'm actually going to be doing an IG Live with Wendy Tilford. You're going to love her. And it's talking about facts or facade, fairy tale or facade. But basically, it's just looking at some of the principles in my book, but looking at having it all in mommy guilt and what can really be done and what's a realistic ask. So it's going to be a really great conversation. You'll find it at her IG. So it's at Wendy Tilford. I'll put it in the comments for you. That's going to be tomorrow at 8 Eastern. So you should check that out. And that'll be the last time I'm live streaming for the week. But thanks again. Next thing is just make sure you do your normal prescription, which is to call someone. Yes, you have to call. Video or audio works, and talk to them. So it doesn't count leaving a message. You need to talk to at least one person and tell them that you love them. They will appreciate it. They will feel it. And I bet they'll tell you back. And there's nothing like getting your love bucket filled. So that's what I have for you tonight. Thanks again for spending time with me and choosing to share space with me. I have some new things coming up pretty soon, so I'm looking forward to making some announcements, but take care of yourself. All right. Have a great night. If I can hit the right button.